Enduring Issues Essay, Classical Civs. An enduring issue is a challenge or problem that has been debated or discussed across time. An enduring issue is one that many societies have attempted to address with varying degrees of success. Task: identify and define an enduring issue raised by this set of documents. Using your knowledge of social studies and evidence from the documents, argue why the issue you selected is significant and how it has endured across time. Guidelines: identify the enduring issue based on a historically accurate interpretation of at least 3 documents. Define the issue using evidence from at least 3 documents. Argue that this is a significant issue that has endured by showing how the issue has affected people or has been affected by people, how the issue has continued to be an issue or has changed over time. Include outside information from your knowledge of social studies and include evidence from the documents. Document 1. Source: the records of the Grand Historian Sima Shan. The Prime Minister Li Si said, "Now your Majesty Shohuangdi has built up his great empire to endure, survive for generations without end. In times gone by, different barons, nobles, fought among themselves and gathered wandering scholars. Today, however, the empire is at peace. All laws and order come from one single source. The common people support themselves by farming and handicrafts, while students study the laws and prohibitions. I humbly propose that all historical records but those of Qin be burned. If anyone who is not a court scholar dares to keep the ancient songs, historical records, or writings of the 100 schools, these should be confiscated, taken, and burned by the provincial governor and army commander. Those who in conversation dare to quote the old songs and records should be publicly executed. Chinese tradition claims that 460 rebellious Confucian scholars were buried alive in a common grave and many others were stoned to death. Those who use old precedents to oppose the new order should have their families wiped out, and officers who know of such cases but fail to report them should be punished in the same way. If 30 days after the issuing of this order, the owners of these books have still not destroyed them, they should have their face tattooed and be condemned to hard labor at the Great Wall. The only books which need not be destroyed are those dealing with medicine, divination, the practice of looking into the future, and agriculture. Those who want to study the law can learn it from the officers. Document 2. Source: Pericles' funeral oration, 430 BC. Our system of government does not copy the systems of our neighbors. We are a model to them, not them to us. Our Constitution is called a democracy because power rests not in the hands of the few, but of the many. Our laws guarantee equal justice for all. As for the election of public officials, we welcome talent to every arena of achievement, nor do we make our choices on the grounds of class, but on the grounds of excellence alone. We differ from other states in regarding the man who keeps aloof from public life, not as private, but as useless. Great indeed are the signs and symbols of our powers. Men of the future will wonder at us, as all men do today. Document 3A. Source: Mahalsky, 2018. Under the Han Dynasty, the government promoted the philosophy of Confucianism and used it as the basis for the civil service exams. Document 3B. Source: Bartz and Gonzalez Frausto, Globalizing the Common Core, modified. Everyone had duties and responsibilities, depending on his or her position in a relationship. In the superior circle, ruler, husband, father, elder, brother. In the inferior circle, subject, wife, son, younger brother. The superior member takes care of and sets a good example for the inferior member, who owes loyalty and obedience to the superior member. Document 4A. Source: McDougall-Littell, World History Patterns of Interaction, 2008. This is a map. The title says The Roads of the Roman Empire. The key tells you that the gray areas are the Roman Empire around 117 CE, and the black lines are Roman roads. Document 4B. Source: Virtual Correct Resources Project and Appalachian College Association, adapted. Purposes and kinds of Roman roads. Why did the Romans build roads? The Romans considered a well-organized and efficient transportation system a basic element of proper administration, i.e., an indispensable element in creating and maintaining the Roman state. The earliest highways, or main roads, were constructed for the use of the military, and their economic benefit for civilians was a later byproduct and not the main reason for their creation. The military nature of the roads continued to be essential as Romans expanded into territory outside Italy. In the province of Arabia Petrea, which included what is now Jordan, the movement of troops and ease of communication for the army and Roman administration were the primary reasons for construction of the Via Nova, one of the many Via Militaris, or military roads, built and conquered provinces. However, smaller, shorter, and less well-constructed local roads, actos, or tracts, calles, also increased in territory after it was brought under Roman control. Nevertheless, the main public highways, viae publicae, normally began as military roads and only gradually evolved into civilian conduits, passageways. Document 5. Source: Patricia Smith, Upfront Magazine, What's at Stake, August 31st, 2020. Whoever is president will face the task of reviving a devastated economy while overseeing a national response to a once-in-a-century pandemic. At the same time, he will lead a nation that has been reeling over the killing of George Floyd, a Black man, by a white police officer in Minneapolis. Floyd's death outraged millions of Americans of all races, prompting widespread protests against police violence toward Black Americans and the broader problem of racial injustice. It's not just that the issues facing the candidates are different this year. The entire process of campaigning and how the election will be conducted are also unprecedented. Widespread stay-at-home orders intended to slow the virus interrupted the day-to-day work of the campaigns over the spring and summer. President Trump was forced to suspend many large political rallies, though he remained in the public eye through regular White House briefings. Biden spent months in his Delaware home, largely out of sight.